What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over why you should not quit caffeine. Now, this is coming from somebody who quit caffeine cold turkey for a few months, and I quit caffeine for the right reasons. I was having breakouts on my face. My physical health wasn't the healthiest. I wasn't getting the best sleep. That's why I quit caffeine. But I'm going to make a case. Everybody, you're browsing the YouTube videos, you're watching people who are saying, oh my gosh, I quit caffeine, it changed my life. I was one of those people, but I think I was drawing some wrong conclusions. And I'm going to go over the various misconceptions I had with quitting caffeine and how to use caffeine properly. But before we dive into this video, I want to make sure you understand something. Caffeine is a drug, just like cocaine, just like alcohol, just like nicotine. Caffeine is a drug. It is a stimulant. It arouses your sympathetic nervous system. So we have a parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, relax, sit down, chill out. Your body heals in this state. And you also have your sympathetic nervous system when you smoke cigarettes or take nicotine patches or do cocaine or do caffeine. It stimulates your sympathetic nervous system to where your heartbeat goes faster, fight or flight begins to happen, all the blood goes into your muscles. So I want you to understand before we go into this that caffeine is a drug and it should be respected as such. Now, the number one reason why I wanted to quit caffeine was to really, I feel like my sympathetic nervous system was just way overstimulated. My face was breaking out often. I wasn't getting the best sleep. I was more anxious than I would have liked to be. I was more stressed. I had stuff going on in my business that was stressing me out. But I just felt like I was a little bit too ramped up. And so that's why I wanted to quit caffeine. But I feel like I have a much healthier relationship with caffeine now. So before you decide to quit caffeine cold turkey, I'm going to try to pull you back in and give you a few tips on how to actually use caffeine the right way, how to not abuse it. My energy feels stable all day now. I used to have crashes before. So yeah, let's dive into this. So the reasons why you should quit caffeine, why you shouldn't quit caffeine are, number one, I want to talk about the anxiety aspect. So a lot of people want to quit because of anxiety. But anxiety, you're going to have anxiety if your body's not healthy, if you have decisions in your life that you need to make. Maybe they're personal, maybe they're in business, things that you know you need to do. Quitting caffeine is not going to help with that shit. You need to address all the problems in your life. Maybe your business has a huge hole in it and you need to fill it up. Maybe there's something that you need to say to somebody. Go ahead and address all that first before you go to thinking that it's caffeine. Also, make sure that you're eating healthy, you're eating properly, because if you're not eating food, that causes anxiety right there. Just the fact that you're not eating a lot of food, having an empty stomach is proven to cause a lot of anxiety. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, make sure you're eating breakfast. And if you're drinking caffeine first thing in the morning, you're not eating anything, I used to do this, you're going all day like on an empty stomach because caffeine suppresses your appetite. It makes you not very hungry. That's why, when you drink caffeine, you're usually not hungry for 3 or 4 hours. So make sure that you're addressing anxiety in your life and you're getting good sleep. And if you're drinking caffeine at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, stop it. You should stop caffeine at 12 hard. You should really stop. If you wake up, I wake up at 10 o'clock some mornings, but if you wake up at, what normal people wake up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you should really stop drinking caffeine around 10, 11 o'clock because the half-life of caffeine is very long. And so when you go to sleep, there's a high chance that even if you had caffeine first thing in the morning, there's still going to be a little bit of it in your system. So make sure that you're drinking a lot of water, you're able to flush it out of your system, and respect it as a drug because that's what it is. So when it comes to anxiety, my advice is look at what's really causing you anxiety. And if you know, like every time I drink coffee, I'm just so anxious, like it's ruining my day, I would even question that a little bit further. Like, what is truly making you anxious? Like, is it social anxiety? Do you have anxiety when you're by yourself? What are you thinking about when you're anxious? Because ultimately it's your thoughts that are making that anxiety. But if you really feel like caffeine is amping you up to the point where it's abnormal how anxious you are, maybe you should quit cold turkey and then a few months down the road, perhaps reintroduce it. So the second reason why you shouldn't quit is productivity. I've heard, and this is probably the least scientific thing I'm going to say in this video, this is from Paul Chek. Anybody that knows Paul Chek, I love his work, although I know he's not a scientist. And what he says is you can live 36 hours on caffeine in a 24-hour period. Now, his case for this is your cells are literally moving faster, your heart's beating faster, your brain is thinking faster, and so you're able to get more done. You're also aging faster when you're living faster like this. So, but you're more productive. I've noticed when I have coffee in the morning, when I have my espresso and I sit down, I'm in a better mood. I'm ready to go. My RPM, my brain's RPM is firing at a higher level. So everybody knows this. Like, I don't need to tell you, like, when you drink coffee, you can get shit done. Now, on the flip side, I used to drink like 5 cups of coffee before like 8 a.m. I used to wake up at 5 and just chug as much as possible. And I wasn't that productive because I just had so much caffeine, and I talked about this in my video when I quit caffeine. Caffeine helps with dopamine in your brain, and it makes it feel like you're more productive than you actually are. So you do have to be careful. You may feel more productive than you actually are when you're on caffeine just because you feel good from having the drug in your body. But if you're smart about it, if you limit your use, limit it to 1 or 2 espressos in the morning, don't drink in the afternoon. What you can do is you can have that boost and make sure you're focused, make sure you sit down. This is Robert Downey talks about this. I don't know if his middle name is Jay. I don't know why I threw that J in there. Robert Downey, Iron Man, talks about how when you want to be productive, when you show up, the number one thing you got to do is you got to know, why are you there? Why are you there? Why the fuck are you there? What are you doing for the day? So when you sit down, what the fuck are you trying to accomplish? Ask yourself that. Figure it out. If you can't answer that question, when you drink caffeine, you're going to sit down and you're going to do everything. You're going to have 100 tabs open, so make sure in your mind you're focused. What the hell am I doing? Sit down. Okay, I'm writing this essay. I'm shooting this video, whatever it is, and get that shit done, get it out of the way, but you must have that intention. Another reason why you shouldn't quit caffeine is your sleep quality doesn't need to be affected by caffeine. As long as you cut yourself off at a certain time in the afternoon. So you want to stop drinking caffeine at least 10 hours before you go to sleep. So that leaves you a very tiny window first thing in the morning to drink your caffeine. So you shouldn't be drinking caffeine in the afternoon. It's going to screw your sleep cycles up. You do not want to mess with your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is your body's natural cycle with the sun. So when the sun comes up, we're used to having the sunlight in our eyes. It stimulates cortisol in your body. Your body produces all these hormones, these stress hormones, in a good way to get your body going and flowing. So if you look at light late at night, or you drink caffeine or anything like that, anything that stimulates your body, you go for a quick run, you don't want to do that late at night, because what it's doing is it's getting your body amped up. And when your body gets amped up, it's harder for it to, you get really restorative sleep when your resting heart rate drops. That's when that optimal recovery occurs, is when your heart rate drops all the way down to, it should drop a giant percentage lower than whatever your current heart rate is. So if your average heart rate in the day is like 80, it should drop to as low as like 40 or 50 at nighttime. That's when you recover. And if you're a guy, and I'm sure it's the same with girls, but especially guys, your testosterone increases. This is when your muscles are rebuilt. This is when your hormones are pumping and giving you more muscle and giving you that sex drive, everything that a man needs. And also, if you're a woman, if you're just a human being, if you're an animal on this planet, especially humans. Humans are the only animals that sleep 8 hours at one time. All the other animals, they take, it's called cat naps. It's why they sleep, a few minutes, and then they get back to life, and then they're asleep for a few minutes to get back to life. Humans need this, 5 to 10 hours, depending. There's super freaks out there like Obama and Trump and Albert Einstein that can sleep for 4 hours a night and be good. But most people need about 5 to 10 hours of a long shot of sleep in order to get their brain. By the way, Dalai Lama sleeps for 9 hours a night. So Dalai Lama is Buddhist, super well respected guy out west or out east, and I always use that whenever people come to me and they're like, you only need 4 hours of sleep a night. I'm like, no, Dalai Lama sleeps 9 hours. Calm down. Take a step back. The most woke person on this planet sleeps 9 hours a night, so I'm sleeping 9 hours a night. But what happens at the very end when your heart rate is dropping real low, your brain goes into a very relaxed state, that's when your brain actually repairs itself, just like it repairs muscles. Your brain learns. So if you're drinking caffeine late in the afternoon, you're inhibiting your brain's ability to regenerate these neurons. And the way it works is your brain has something called myelin sheath around the neurons, and it's like a coating of this fatty tissue, and it allows the connections. Let's say you're at jiu-jitsu practice all day, you're learning how to do jiu-jitsu, or you're building a business and you're learning some skill, or you're coding all day. Okay, you did your hard work during the day, right? And you think that's where you learn. No, you don't learn. Your brain doesn't actually coat everything with myelin sheath until that night. So when you go to sleep, if your heart rate's beating like crazy and you're stimulated from the caffeine, you're not gonna get very good rest, and you're actually going to get dumber as a result. You're literally getting dumber by drinking caffeine later in the day. So please drink your caffeine first thing in the morning. Cut it off. I mean, if you're like an addict, drink as much as you can in that little short 1 to 2 hour window when you first wake up, because you really want to cut off about 10 hours before you go to sleep. These are the main reasons, in my opinion, my humble opinion on YouTube, that you should not quit caffeine. You should keep it as part of your productivity tools. But just know, caffeine can screw a lot of things up in your life. If you abuse it, respect it as a drug, use it, literally use it as a drug. Don't overdo it. If you think you're doing too much, you're probably doing too much. Limit yourself to an amount. Find an amount that works for you and get after it, guys. Much love. If you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button below. Smash that like button if this video brought you value. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.